Hey, this is Ciderhelm, and welcome to the Vainglory Hero Spotlight. Today we'll be looking at Vox, a perimeter shock trooper who uses sound to strike at his enemies. Vox is a child of two worlds, navigating between technology and the arcane, and between the carefree world of music and the seriousness of circumstance. Simultaneously a sniper and a mage, he can choose to devastate a single target or wear down multiple targets at once. Vox's perk, Julia's Song, causes each of his attacks to grant him a small barrier. This sound barrier stacks with each consecutive attack up to a small maximum. However, the barrier will quickly fall off if Vox stops landing basic attacks. In addition to the barrier, Vox's basic attacks also deal bonus crystal damage, and this damage increases if Vox purchases any items with crystal power. Vox's abilities can apply an effect called Resonance on enemies. When Vox attacks an enemy with Resonance, the crystal portion of his basic attack also bounces to the nearest enemies, prioritizing any heroes nearby. These attacks also refresh the duration of Resonance on all nearby enemies. The bounces do not count as basic attacks when it comes to items, but they can each grant Barrier, allowing Vox to potentially reach his maximum barrier from a single attack. Resonance cannot be applied to turrets and never increases damage taken by Vox's primary target. Vox's Sonic Zoom ability allows him to dash a short fixed distance in a target direction. During his dash, he will throw 2 attacks to the nearest enemy, prioritizing heroes. These attacks deal reduced weapon damage, but are otherwise considered basic attacks, allowing them to critically strike, apply item effects, and bounce crystal damage if the target has Resonance. This ability also acts as a reset for his basic attack. In other words, if Vox attacks a target then immediately dashes, he can gain a total of 4 attacks in rapid succession. Sonic Zoom's Overdrive allows the first attack during the dash to apply Resonance to its target. I recommend learning this ability first when laning. When your goal is to deal maximum burst damage to a single target, upgrade this ability and take its overdrive as soon as possible. Vox's Pulse ability emits a sonar wave that applies Resonance and marks the location of all nearby enemies. This wave also slows enemies it passes over, with the slow being much stronger towards the center than it is at the edges. Upgrading Pulse passively increases the damage dealt from Resonance bounces. In other words, each rank in Pulse causes secondary targets, not the primary target, of Vox's basic attacks to take even more crystal damage. The Overdrive on Pulse significantly increases the passive Resonance bounce damage, significantly decreases the Pulse cooldown, and it strengthens the power of the slow. I recommend learning this ability first when jungling. Upgrade this ability and take its Overdrive when you want to maximize multi-target damage or utility. Vox's ultimate, Wait For It, applies Resonance to all enemies in a narrow line. Immediately afterward, a wide secondary shockwave follows the same path, dealing crystal damage and briefly silencing enemies. Resonance bounces will also be triggered from any hero struck by the shockwave, causing substantially increased damage if multiple heroes are caught in the shockwave. Each rank of the ultimate significantly reduces its cooldown. Take the 3rd rank of this ability for when your team will benefit from having a silence available more frequently, or for the substantial burst in heavy crystal builds. Vox's power is defined heavily by which items he chooses. For serious single-target damage, it's generally a good idea to build Heavy Weapon, or incorporate items with on-hit effects. On the other hand, heavy crystal power items are fantastic, especially when taking the Overdrive on Pulse, as they seriously increase his multi-target damage. While his opponents have been building heavy weapon items, Blue Team's Vox has been building crystal power items, which means his single-target burst damage is fairly low. Regardless, a fight breaks out as he aggressively dashes in. Take note of this initial shot from Vox's ultimate, which has barely grazed Arden and applied Resonance. Though it deals no damage, teams should always pay attention to who gets hit by this initial shot. Though the ultimate shockwave and Koshka pounce left the enemy Vox alive, just barely, the killing blow will come from a Resonance bounce. When Arden realized he was overwhelmed and was falling back, Vox turned around to re-engage, putting both in range of each other for bounces. Arden goes down quickly, but the team is unable to lock out the enemy Celeste, who's built defensive shield items. When his opponents attempt to capture the gold mine, Vox is once again able to catch them together. Heavy crystal builds shine brilliantly in situations like these, where enemies are tightly grouped and lack defense. Let's jump way ahead during the match. Though our Vox still enjoys an enormous item advantage, take note of how little direct damage he can deal to the enemy Vox. Against a single target or when opponents stay sufficiently spread apart, Crystal is far weaker than weapon builds. And while Crystal can build heavy lifesteal, enemies with hard stuns or defensive shield items can cut out this advantage. The enemy team has capitalized on their victory, taking Kraken and pushing hard. However, as they press their advantage, they once again make a critical mistake by lining up neatly for Vox's ultimate. The triple resonance bounce all but secures the fate of this match, as our team immediately turns to give chase to their weakened opponents. Thanks for watching the Vox Hero Spotlight. Download Vainglory free on the Apple App Store and join us in the Halcyon Fold.